I see many ads go online with very easy and stupid mistakes that are easily preventable. So in this video, I want to focus on checklists that you can go through before you actually launch an ad to make sure that your ads have the most chances of success and to find new winning ads. My name is William and I've generated over 12 million in sales for 7- and 8-figure e-commerce brands. With that having said, let's get straight into the video. So here you get some insight on very valuable information, and that is like every point that your ad should check before you approve it and before you let it go online. Let's just go over all points together. So the first point is very obvious. It's just body copy and the creative copy has 0 typos. If yes, good. Then 2, the creative elements cover any important visuals needed to convey the message. So basically you'll find sometimes ads that say one thing, but then the B-rolls show something unrelated. And this is what you really want to avoid. The B-rolls should just express what your narration is actually telling. Then the third point, creative is visually appealing. So this, of course, is not always important. You can make ugly ads on purpose to get clicks, but usually brands go for visually appealing and aesthetic creatives, especially if it's a fashion brand or if it's a jewelry brand, right? So this is something you also just want to put on the list and let your team go through it before you actually put anything online. Now the fourth point, pacing of the video is slow enough for consumers to understand. Now people make ads faster and faster because the attention span of people is getting shorter. But then again, you want to find the perfect pace. So for example, if you have an audience that's very young, you want to make it faster, but still slow enough to understand. Don't overspeed it. But then again, if your audience is like in the 40s or 50s, you can make it a little bit slower, but still in a pace to make sure that they don't get bored in the middle and they don't just fall off. So you want to find the right pace for your ad creative. Then point number 5, video has a scene change every 2 to 4 seconds to keep users engaged. Now this is very important again, because especially with short form ads and short form content, if you show them like a clip for 6 or 7 seconds, it just gets so boring that people keep scrolling, because the other video that comes after your ad with the dopamine hits after every 2 seconds with a new clip will engage them more, will be more interesting, and this is what you want to avoid. So again, every 2 to 4 seconds, a new clip to keep the user engaged. Also here, you want to make sure you don't overdo it. If you have a new clip every 1 second or 0.5 seconds, sometimes I've seen ads like this. Of course, this will be overwhelming for most people and they will scroll because of that. So you want to find the golden middle here as well. What I have found works really well, depending on the audience, is a new clip every 2 to 4 seconds. Then point number 6, product mechanism demonstrated correctly. So here you just want to visually explain how your product works. Ideally, you don't need any text to even understand how it works. And that way you will just sell much better, because the simpler you keep it, the better actually for conversions. Now number 7 links to point number 2, and that is just showing relevant scenery to the text on the screen, because sometimes you have irrelevant scenery and then it gets confusing or people just don't trust the ad anymore. So you want to make sure the creative is always showing something that's related to the text. Now point number 8, very, very important. The hook entices you to watch or read more. Also, you want to make sure that you have an audio hook or sound effect hook. You don't need it always, but you probably know those videos where a person starts talking, but then you also have a sound effect that kinda hooks you into watching the video. So you want to make sure that the visuals are like relatable for your audience, but also something weird that hooks them in the same way the text hook should entice to read more or watch more. Like it should appeal to their main desire or main pain point, but at the same time leave curiosity to watch the whole video. This is something like, this is one of the most important things and one of the biggest mistakes most people do, because they just make a statement like, this product will do this for you. And well, then this is a great explanation of the product, but A, it doesn't leave any curiosity to watch the whole video, and B, everyone knows that it's an ad, so they are not for ads on social media. Why should they watch it? So very important, make sure that the hook always leaves curiosity to watch the whole video. It should be like a weird, relatable statement that makes people wonder what is it about and then watch it. Now the next point is the desire of the brief being achieved. So for example, if we have a product that's the iPod, you don't want to just advertise its features and just explain, well, it can do this and that, but actually you want to express it in a way that satisfies the desire. For example, here the desire is hold more songs on my CD player, and then the benefit to satisfy the desire is 16,000 songs in your pocket. So this is how Apple actually positioned it, and this messaging was very, very successful. So you want to find a messaging that satisfies the desire to make the ad more converting. Now the next 2 points are very important: awareness stage and brief articulated correctly, and market sophistication and brief articulated correctly. I have videos on awareness stage and market sophistication, and you want to make sure that basically you don't sell something that your audience doesn't understand yet, or you don't sound exactly like your competitors. So if you're not aware with awareness stage and market sophistication, I highly recommend you to read a book called Breakthrough Advertising, because there it is explained in a lot of detail, and this is the basis of every successful ad. So this would be too much in this video, but just make sure to look it up, or ideally read the book, and then you will be able to craft effective messaging for your ads to make them successful. Now the next point is also super important, and that is, does the prospect identify with the ad when they watch it? So basically you want to use familiar environments, you want to use familiar characters, you want to use familiar items. If you are a luxury brand, well then just put other luxury items into the ad as well that your prospect is familiar with, or film the ad in luxurious locations, expensive locations where your target audience regularly goes, so it actually resonates with them. So for example, if you're selling an expensive fast car, people are not just buying the car really, but they buy also the self-image of being able to afford such a car and then being perceived like this in the society. So this is where identity comes in, and that is very important. Basically, whenever you sell like a product that isn't like problem solution, it's usually a product like, for example, fashion or jewelry, which doesn't really solve a problem, but which links to an identity. And this identity in your ad, you want to link the identity to your product and then sell the identity, not just your product. So point number 13, also very important for social media or to build something that gets a lot of engagement. Does your ad go with or against the current belief of your consumers? Now, why is this important? Well, if you confirm exactly what your consumer believes to be true, for example, that weight loss is very hard and you need specific tactics for it and so on, then people will resonate with it. They have the confirmation bias, and that basically means they want to hear and see information which they believe to be true, so they will consume your ad, and you'll probably get a lot of comments saying, oh yeah, it's so hard, I've tried this and this and that and it didn't work and blah blah blah. Now, why would you want to go against beliefs? Well, because basically it does the same thing but the opposite of it. So if you say it's actually easy and you can do it with this and that, then people will probably feel a bit attacked, and it might be a controversial ad, but at the same time it will drive a lot of engagement below the ad, a lot of discussions in the comments, and basically you will also convince some of your consumers that it's actually easy if they just use your product, and this is how you can sell to them. So then the next point, 14, very important, especially if your audience has already tried like different products. For example, again, weight loss is a great example. If they tried different products but they haven't worked for them, it's very important that you make it believable for them that your product will work. So for example, if it's something that they already tried and it didn't work, you want to come up with a new mechanism and explain, okay, but because we have this and this mechanism and this is how it works, well, basically this is why it will work for you, right? Social proof, many people saying, okay, it worked for me, I struggled with this and that, and I have tried this and that product, and I have tried running and so on, and it didn't work, but using this, it helped me to achieve whatever they want to achieve, right? And then also just showing the product in use, how it's being applied, and how it generates the effects that people want to see. Again, here, very simple. Just imagine you are your prospect with your doubts and beliefs that you have. You will find those doubts and beliefs that your prospects have just through your research. And then imagine, okay, what would I need to hear and see to actually believe that this product is the solution to my problem? Now, 15 links to 14 statements in the ad follow a flow of acceptance. So basically, if you have a prospect that is critical of any of your products because they have tried similar products and they haven't worked for them, you want to start with something that is generally true. For example, you want to say them yes, yes, yes with more and more commitment until they actually believe what you're telling them. For example, okay, it's not as easy to lose weight as people make it seem. Well, of course they will say yes to that because they have their confirmation bias. Then you can say something like, but the reason for this is that they are trying this and this method and it doesn't work because of this and that. And then people will say, okay, yes, I tried that. And then you explain, okay, but the reason for that is because these methods don't work for that and that reason. But you have to omit doing that and instead, for example, have a time window where you don't eat, like intermediate fasting, because this solves the exact problems that prevented you from losing weight. And then they think like, okay, yes, I tried that. So probably intermediate fasting is actually the solution. And then you say, okay, with this product, you can actually achieve ketosis much faster and it's just like intermediate fasting. And this is why it works. And then they go like, okay, yes, that makes sense. And now you've basically convinced someone who was critical of any weight loss product to say yes to, well, maybe this product actually works for me because this is how it works and people say it works. Again, the social proof here links back to point number 14 and this is how you use it. So if you have a prospect that are doubtful of your product working, you just want the statements in your ad to follow a flow of acceptance until they are at the conclusion that your product is actually the right solution for them. Now the last points are more for the visual creation team. So here, follow the brand's guidelines, of course, fonts, color scheme, tone of voice, etc. Color grading, correct and vibrant. Of course, the post-produced ads should look better than the raw footage. Then soundtrack suits the concept and overall the audience, also very important. Then of course, like visual effects, zoom ins and outs, also sound effects just to make it more engaging and to keep people's attention. And then if it's a static creative, does the ad have a clear hierarchy? So here, for example, let's open this, just look at this really quick. This is basically visual hierarchy and you want to have this in your ad, right? So you want to guide them actually through your reading order, also the visuals, so that people don't get confused when they look at the ad, because sometimes it's like there's the headline and there's the product and everything kind of is equally big and pulls equally much attention, and this is what you want to avoid. You want to guide them through your creative until you have the CTA, or like until they have seen everything and then click on it. So if you just take this ad review sheet and give it to your team with my explanation of how to use it, then your ad quality should improve immensely. But if you don't have a highly proficient team yet to deliver high performing creatives every single week and you want me to help with that, just click the first link in the description and book a free call with me today. Also, once you have the ads, you want to make sure you test them correctly, so check out this video where I explain exactly how to test your ad creatives in the most efficient way. Keep scaling, bye.